Hello, welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews and to something that I'm trying. And full disclosure, I've already filmed this once. I filmed this on Wednesday and then I've just imported all the footage and I was like, I hate this. I don't want this. So I'm trying again. Angela, who is an excellent human being who I will link below because I always should just be by default in all of my videos at this point. We were chatting about BookTube generally and she was talking about like a lot of my content is focused around books I have already read and not really about what I'm currently reading. And I think, having taken about half a year off letting people in to my current reads, I'm willing to dip my toe back in. So I'm going to try out some various things, probably. This might be it. This might work and I'll be quite happy. This is loosely based off Angela's Friday Reads, where she just has a chat about what she's currently reading, what she's going to be reading next, all that's going on, and I'm just going to give it a go. I am currently wearing 3 jumpers. It is absolutely freezing in my house today. It is what it is. I'm going to go from kind of the start of the new year, I think, because I currently don't have like a day to start from. The first couple of books that I finished at the end of last year, were Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which comes out in early January, and it's absolutely fantastic. It might actually be late January, now that I'm thinking about it. It's absolutely fantastic. It's based on the daughter of the moon goddess, Thankyou, from Chinese mythology, I believe, and it reminded me of when I read Burning Roses, which is similar to that. This is much more adventure-y. How do I describe it? There's a lot of mythology brought in, and archery and training montage kind of stuff. It's a great time. I would recommend it. I think it would have some crossover appeal, YA versus adult, if you're interested in that. The romance does interesting things, which I appreciated. It's not just a straight up love triangle or solo relationship. It's a good time. And yeah, I think that's that one. And we'll talk about it again when it's coming out. But I thought that I would mention that. What else is on my spreadsheet here? Let's jump into 2022. So I finished A Vow So Bold and Deadly, which I had been reading for an overbooked video. This is the 3rd book in the Curse Breakers trilogy, I believe. So A Curse So Dark and Lonely, Heart So Fierce and Broken, Vow So Bold and Deadly, Blank So Blank and Blankly. This whole trilogy, I will talk about it in a full review, so I won't waffle too much here. It'll be up in a few weeks. How did I come around to this? I don't think you need to read this. I don't think anyone needs to read this. I don't think it does enough new that I'm like, absolutely, yes, 100% pick this up. It does interesting things. There are interesting ideas going on in this story, but there are so many of them that none of them get the treatment they deserve. So do I want to explore what happens after the end of a fairy tale and after Happily Ever After in every sense? Yes, I do. That doesn't happen enough in this because there are too many characters to follow and too many different things going on. Do I want Girl from the Modern World ends up in a fairy tale world? Yes. But that's sort of ditched from book 2 onwards, and they're just kind of happy being in a fairy tale world. I have a lot of feelings. I'm excited to film that video. But yeah, Girl from the Modern World goes to a fairy tale world. It's Beauty and the Beast is the first book, and then it goes on from there in a way that I can't explain in a succinct enough way for this video. But yeah, YA, it was fine. It was fine. I am in the middle of the audiobook of 100,000 Stitches or 10,000 Stitches. I should check. 10,000 Stitches, there we go. Olivia Atwater. I have 4.5 hours left of that, and that is a Regency Fae romance, which I'm very much enjoying. I really liked the first book. The first book is Half a Soul, and this does feature characters from Half a Soul, but it's a different romance in the same universe. And in this book, so far, we have a maid called Euphemia. I can't remember what her shortened name is now. It hasn't gone into my brain yet. Never mind. And as part of the story, she has made a deal with a fairy and he is trying to make her more noble. And there's some interesting stuff going on and I don't quite know where it's going, and I don't know who I want to root for. It's very exciting. But that's really enjoyable. If you're looking for like a light fantasy, romancy kind of thing, I would recommend those books. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, I've just finished The Poppy War. I finished this morning. It's Friday morning when I'm filming this. It's very, very good. I think this was probably my 4th time reading it. And this is the first time I felt like nothing surprised me. There was nothing where I went, oh yeah, I remember when that happened. So I think that bodes well for the rest of my reread for this series. This is a military fantasy. The first half of it's kind of a school learning your powers kind of thing, and the second half is much more military strategy, which I actually really enjoy. I hadn't thought about it in that way before, in terms of learning the strategy and then implementing it, and how young these characters are and how young they come across. Oh, sorry, Luna just did a big stretch. Would I recommend reading this if you bear in mind the content warnings that come with it? I do recommend at least reading The Poppy War. Verdict to come on reading the rest of the books in the series. We will see. I'm a few pages into The Queen of Raiders. I haven't really done enough reading of that to say I've started it. I have marked it as started on Storygraph though, so I will have to finish it. I haven't quite worked out when I'm going to get to that. It might be a weekend read, but it's because I have it on Scribd. I need to read it on my phone. But my phone's not really, I haven't been up late at night. My mum's been to visit. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But that is the second book in, I don't know what the series is actually called, but it's a 4-book series that was released across 4 months in 2020. And I own the first one. So for some reason, I'm reading the rest of them. And the first one involves a princess being put into hiding. The first book is called A Queen in Hiding. Who'd have thought? And it's relatively low magic fantasy at the moment. Some people have some special powers, but it's not really been explored in a big way, which I think is part of my problem with it. So I'm interested to see where book 2 goes. I think if I don't like book 2, I might give up. I might, just to give myself a bit more space. We'll see. You'll see in the next one of these videos. So the other thing I need to get to before the end of this week is Animorphs 29. I finished the editing for Animorphs 28. If you're a patron, you can watch that video already. Huzzah. If you are not, then you will have to wait until about the 19th. But yes, I need to read Animorphs 29. I'm trying to get ahead on Animorphs videos because April is going to be here before I know it. But I think I've dipped back into enjoying that series. It comes in waves with Animorphs. I'm either super keen or I'm super like, why am I making this series? The ghost written ones are so much fun and they're not that long and they're a nice, palate cleanser for the week, shall we say. I just wanted to spotlight some new releases that have come out in the last week. We had 2 books that I've already read, and because I don't know when or if I'm going to make full review videos for them, this feels like the best place to talk about them. We have Where the Drowned Girls Go, which is by Shannon Maguire. Now, this will have an overbooked video in the fullness of time. This is the 7th book in the Wayward Children series of novellas. They are some of my absolute favourite novellas. Say what you like about everything else Shannon Maguire has written. I have not read any of it, but I love The Wayward Children. They are portal fantasy books or books about children who have been in portal fantasy books. And with the 6th one was the start of a new arc. But actually this 7th one draws a lot more on the events of the previous books. So I don't know how I feel about that. I think this one, more than any of the others, you kind of need to have at least read... which one? Oh, I think Down Among the Sticks and Bones? Maybe? I think just read all of them before you read it. But it's beautiful. It's one of the ones that I've really seen myself in. We have this wonderful main character, Cora, who comes from a world where she was at one point a mermaid. And just her journey is really beautiful. And the book is heartbreaking. I would have loved, with all of them, I would have loved them to be longer, but I appreciate where they are as novellas, and I'm really excited for the rest of them. And I'm trying to decide, do I buy all of them? Because they come up on some secondhand book sites sometimes. I'm like, oh, do I fill out the collection? I own 2 of them at the moment. Or do I wait until the inevitable bind-up? I believe there will one day be a bind-up, but it might be a long wait. But do I want to spend all of my money on novellas that I've already read? I don't know. And the other one is The Ivory Key, which is a YA book that is Indian inspired. It's a kind of YA fantasy adventure romp, I suppose, but in an Indian-inspired world where magic is a resource to be traded and so such, and magic is running out, and 4 noble siblings who are somewhat estranged, to say the least, have to solve some puzzles and go on an adventure in order to find the Ivory Key, which might bring back magic. And it's fairly formulaic in a lot of ways. I really liked the exploration of 4 siblings. I think I've read a lot of YA with 2. Or indeed with 3, where the 3rd one is the evil one. We've all read that one before. But as I say, these 4 sibling relationships to deal with, I found very interesting, and a lot of the different motivations and things fascinating. I think had I read it when I was a bit more burned out on YA, I would have had a less good time. I read it over Christmas, which is, I tend to be very forgiving towards books over the Christmas holidays because I'm just so excited to not be at work. I had a good time with it. I do know that Asher over at A Cat Book and a Cup of Tea wasn't such a huge fan, so take with that what you will. I think it's a fun adventure. Fair warning, the whole puzzle solving aspect of it doesn't really come in until about the 60% of the way through mark, but it was fine by me, which surprises me as well, because normally I get very annoyed when I'm promised puzzle solving and I don't get it immediately. But there's just a lot of character stuff to set up before that. I also announced my Ian McLemore read-along that is happening in a few weeks, so if you haven't checked out that video and you would like to join in, please do check that out. That's also part of why I'm making this video, as a reminder to myself that that is coming up. Next things I want to read, thinking towards the future, I have to read the next book in that 4-book series, The Broken Queen, probably. That's all I'll say on that one. I also, for some horrifying reason, have scheduled myself reading The Dragon Republic and the first Nevernight book in the same week. They are rereads. I'm sure it will be fine. I think that's what I'll start with. I might pick up Age of Ash. I might pick up Only a Monster. They're both review copies I have sitting around. We'll see. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this brings you a little bit of what I'm currently reading. I'm not going to talk about everything I'm reading all the time, but I think it's just a nice place to touch base and say, here we are. This is what I'm doing at the moment. Because otherwise you end up hearing my thoughts on books that I had 2 weeks ago because my video schedule is a bit mad. There's been a lot of videos this week. If you've watched them all, thank you so much. If you wanted to pick and choose, absolutely fine. Not concerned. What are you currently reading? Let me know down in the comments below while you're down there commenting. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. You can also follow me on social media. Come check out my Discord where we have fun chats about books. Thank you to everyone who has already joined my Patreon. You are wonderful human beings who bring me great joy and satisfaction in life. Thank you. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. I felt much better about that. Yes. Now I need to go delete all the footage from the previous one. It is what it is.